everybody, how you doing today? Here I am in West Hills, California, which is in the valley, north on the west side, pretty far up. And this video, I'm going to be going to about 4 locations, roughly. If you look up there, right past that stop sign, there's a little park. I'll tell you about that park in a second. So, get off the main road, and here I am on Ingomar Street. What happened here is a sad story, a story I know almost everything about. I followed it since around 2006, and it happened in the year 2000. It concerns a young man named Nicholas Markowitz. A lot of people refer to it as the Jesse James Hollywood case, and because he was the ringleader of the little group of young men / dirtbags who committed a very, very heinous crime. And it began right here. Now, if you saw the movie Alpha Dog with Justin Timberlake, Bruce Willis, Sharon Stone, Anton Yelchin, Emil Hirsch, that movie, Amanda Seyfried, there's so many people in this movie. It is based on this case. And that movie I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite movies, probably my top 10 movies. And it was filmed in Palm Springs. I went out to Palm Springs a few years ago, and I've been there since. But the first thing I did was when I first went to Palm Springs, I did the locations for Alpha Dog. I don't know if I ever put them up even. I may have just taken pictures. I think it may have been before YouTube. I'm not sure. Let's get away from that sun. May have been before I started YouTube. Love the movie. The case, it's pretty accurate to what really happened, and I'm going to tell you the full story. What I'm going to do though is something I don't normally do. I'm going to tell you the full story right now, right here, and then take you to the locations. But this is a very, very important location. I just want to tell the story right now. Like I said, I know it back to front. It's been in my head for years. I'm excited to do it because I've wanted to do it for so long. But it's a heartbreaking story. It's a tragic story of the loss of a very, very young man who had everything ahead of him, and it was stolen from him. And this is the story of Stolen Boy. So Nicholas Markowitz, he lived here in West Hills with his parents, Jeff and Susan. Nicholas had an older brother, it was a half older brother named Ben Markowitz. He was friends with a low-level drug dealer here in the valley named Jesse James Hollywood. Yes, that's his real name. It's not a made-up name. His real name is Jesse James Hollywood. And it was due to a $1,200 debt that Nicholas was kidnapped from this location right here. Apparently, Ben owed Jesse, I've heard different numbers, but the number that seems to stick out the most is $1,200. Ben owed it to Jesse James Hollywood. He owed him $1,200. $1,200. On August 6th, 2000, the sun is going to be not my friend right now, right here. We'll go into here. Right where this wall is, right where the leaves end. I'm gonna stay right here. We should be able to get, yes. Right where those leaves end. Jesse James Hollywood and his friends, Jesse Rugge and William Skidmore, decided they were gonna confront Ben and get his money back. On their way to find Ben, they found Nicholas walking right along here. Nicholas was 15 years old. He was just about a month shy of his 16th birthday. So they saw Nicholas walking here, right along this wall, towards a park that's right around the corner. And they decided to abduct him and hold him for ransom. $1,200. They assaulted him, they abducted him right here. They forced him into a white van and sped off. There were multiple witnesses to this incident, but to many of them, it just looked like a scuffle, looked like some sort of street fight, and it was over. The van sped off. So Nick's abductors took him to Santa Barbara. That's where we're going to be going next. Santa Barbara is about an hour and a half from here. They plied him with drugs and alcohol. While he was in Santa Barbara, he met Jesse's friends, Graham Presley, Natasha Young, Kelly Carpenter, and he started attending house parties with them. So he was kidnapped, and his mother, when she went to wake him up for breakfast, he wasn't there. She knew something was wrong right away. So she began paging him. She must have paged him over 100 times, but he didn't respond. This is when he was in the back of the van, and that day. So like I said, they took him up to Santa Barbara. He started participating in house parties. Here's where it gets tricky, because he was apparently having a good time. Somewhat. Let's not forget, he was 15 years old. He was abducted, he was scared, but he was hanging out with older people. They embraced him. They gave him party favors. And he met some people and was partying and probably feeling like he was making friends. And more than once, he would have said, if he doesn't let me go, I'm not going to tell anybody what happened. So Jesse James Hollywood told Jesse Rugge that Nicholas would be returning home. So Jesse Rugge and several others held a party at the Lemon Tree Inn. We're going to be going there as well. However, Jesse James Hollywood talked to his lawyer, and after learning of the legal ramifications he could face for kidnapping, he called Ryan Hoyt, another member of his little gang, who owed him money. Jesse James Hollywood gave Hoyt a Tech 9 semi-automatic handgun and directed him to kill Nicholas as a way of paying off the debt. So they made the decision to commit the murder on the Lizard Mouth Trail in the Santa Ynez Mountains. This is near Goleta, California, which is just about 10 miles north of Santa Barbara. Right here. The park is right to your right on the other side. This is the location where it occurred. So you can see there'd be lots of opportunity for people to witness and to see what was happening right here. So they were partying at the Lemon Tree Inn. Hoyt, Rugge, and Presley drove Nicholas to the mountains and walked up to a trail to a grave dug by Presley earlier that night. Jesse Rugge bound Nicholas's hands behind his back and covered his mouth with duct tape. Hoyt then hit Nicholas in the back of the head with a shovel, knocking him into the grave, and then shot him 9 times with the Tech 9. I hate the term professional when it comes to killers, when it comes to murders. It's not a real profession. Nobody can be a professional. Just because you're getting paid for it doesn't make you a professional. These guys, but for lack of a better term, these guys were morons and amateurs because they didn't bury him deep enough. It was shallow. It was located near a popular trail, and Nicholas's body was found on August 12, 2000. Skidmore, Rugge, Hoyt, and Presley were all arrested, and Jesse James Hollywood went on the run. Let's tell you what happened to them afterwards. Hoyt, Ryan Hoyt, he was convicted on November 21st, 2001 with first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death in 2001. Jesse Rugge was charged with aiding in the kidnap and murder of Nicholas, and he was convicted of aggravated kidnapping for ransom or extortion with special circumstances, but was acquitted on the murder charge. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 7 years. Eventually, he was released from prison in 2013. William Skidmore was charged with kidnapping and robbery. He was given a 9-year sentence. He was released in April 2009. Graham Presley, who was 17 at the time, he dug the grave. A lot of people think Graham Presley, especially when you see the movie, you might think that character didn't know what was going on, and that was the only part of the movie they kind of got wrong, because you're digging a grave earlier in the day. Why are you digging a grave in the mountains? You know what it's for. He was 17 years old, but he was released on his 25th birthday, just before his 25th birthday in 2007. Now, Jesse James Hollywood. He was 20 at the time of the murder. He wasn't present at the scene of the crime. However, He ordered the murder. Like I said, he went on the run and he was arrested in Brazil after being on the FBI's most wanted list for 5 years. His father was sending him money each month. He was working as a club promoter, doing other odd jobs. And he thought he couldn't get extradited because he had a baby with a woman there. So he thought that gave him status not to be extradited by the U.S. He was wrong because he got into Brazil with a fake passport. Therefore, he was a legal immigrant. Jesse James Hollywood was shipped back once he was found. It was profiled on America's Most Wanted like 2 or 3 times, Dateline. This was a huge story. In 2009, he was convicted of kidnapping and first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, him and Hoyt are the only 2 that are still in prison to this day. The rest are out free. Nicholas was taken right from here. Nicholas was innocent. Nicholas was young. Nicholas had no chance against 3 or 4 other big guys. Right here. Forced into a van. He had no idea what was coming. I'm sure he pleaded with his life right up to the end. I'm going to take you to this location. We're going to get to the Lemon Tree Inn, and then in the morning go up to the trail and then visit Nicholas's final resting place. I'm sure he pleaded with his kidnappers to let him go at the last minute. During it, I'm sure he probably offered when he was partying and hanging out. And I use the term partying, but I don't know necessarily how much he was partying. But apparently, according to witnesses, they didn't think he was, although they knew he was kidnapped, they didn't really take it seriously that he was kidnapped. Because he was going to house parties and hanging out and having fun. But in the back of his mind, he must have known he shouldn't be there. He probably pleaded with them, saying he'd pay the $1,200 debt. His parents would pay the debt. Pleaded with his life. He could have left. He could have gotten away. A lot of people say, why didn't he just leave? Why didn't he just get away? I don't think he thought anything bad was going to happen. I think he thought his brother would pay the debt, or they would eventually let him go. You got to remember the age, 15. Right here. Now, let's take a drive, Santa Barbara, and I'll show you the hotel where they were partying the night Nicholas was murdered. So here we are at the Lemon Tree Inn. 2 days after the kidnapping on August 8th, Jesse Rugge reserved room 341 here where they stayed. And this is where the order was given out to take the life of Nicholas Markowitz. Room 341. So there's room 341 right there. And I can tell you that comparing the hotel they used in Alpha Dog to this hotel it's quite similar, with the pool in the middle of the complex and kind of like a balcony overlooking. I'll put in a few shots of the movie one. So it looks somewhat similar. So they were kind of going for authenticity, but they shot the film in Palm Springs, which, aside from being landlocked, does resemble Santa Barbara somewhat. So here's the real pool. So now we're going to continue the story, and it'll be daylight. We're going to go to Lizard's Mouth Trail, just above Santa Barbara, about 10 miles, and I'll tell you more of the story there. So as you can see behind me, we are at Lizard's Mouth Rock, and the drive here was about 4 or 5 miles off the main road, and let me tell you, it was twisty, turny, and just even in the daylight, not a fun drive. Very bumpy, and on either side we got higher and higher. One wrong, not paying attention to the road, one wrong turn, so to speak, you'd be off the side of the road, down the mountain. We are going up higher into the mountain, onto the mountain, I should say, and I can only imagine what it's like at night. There'd be no lights, how dark it would be, and how scared Nicholas would be. Because it's so dark at night up here, and it's getting higher and higher. And at what point did he know? Did he figure out what was happening, where they were going, what was going to happen to him? Let's make the walk up and see what we see.
Where are you going? There's no tomorrow. Empty promises are still haunting me. I'll be waiting forever. Time's left, it's gone. This hoping you'll find home. Memories are flooding. Can't say goodbye. You can't see what's left of me. Today is forever. Today is forever.
So I've made it right underneath the Lizard's Mouth, and there is a memorial for Nicholas somewhere here. It doesn't designate the exact location where he was murdered because that's kind of really off the trail, but this trail is one of the more difficult ones I've ever had to hike to get to a location. So somebody put some spray paint. There's spray paint everywhere, as you can see. A little bit, well, not too much, but yeah, somebody spray painted Nicholas Samuel Markowitz on a rock, and not exactly sure where it is, and there's nobody around to kind of point me in the right direction. But just, there you go. I mean, this designates the area. I mean, the rock is, the Lizard's Mouth. This is the trail. To get to this location at night would be very, very difficult in the middle of the night. So dark. You have to go up and down rocks. It's not like a regular trail where you would just follow along very easily. It's up and down, climbing giant boulders. And so it's somewhere off the trail, which, like I said, there's about 3 or 4 different trails that splinter off, but his body was found here. I'm going to be walking for a long time trying to find where they spray painted his name. I don't think I'm going to find it. And now we'll go to Nicholas's final resting place.
We touched down on the Astral plane with a starstruck boy and promised like a ball and chain. Tired and weary and a little forlorn, I was hoping to find myself reborn. And something was lost and gained, but nothing so easily explained. You dream of colors and I dream of gold. You dream of summers, but my dreams leave me cold. I thought I knew just what I wanted, but now it seems the dreams have come a little bit haunted. Something was lost and gained, but nothing so easily explained. Turns you inside out, fills your heart with doubt. Nothing is for certain, but I'll tell you what I found when I looked around, there behind the curtain. Oh.
So up in Masada North section of the cemetery, Nicholas should be right around here. It's not exactly sure. I've got a pin to the grave, and should be right about here somewhere. Take a quick look. Sure, it's gonna jump right out at me. So it reads, Nicholas Samuel Markowitz, September 19th, 1984 to August 9th, 2000. Step softly, a dream lies here. Sweet dreams, Nick. Our boy. Mommy's gift from God. Such euphoria and devastation in a lifetime. A son. Your father as proud as could be. You were loved the moment you were conceived. A devoted brother, your unconditional love will never be forgotten. A loving grandson, memories of holidays and special times. A nephew and cousin, admired and adored. A true friend, companion and confidant. We all loved, believed in, and learned from you, Nick. Most important, Nicholas, you have made an impression on all who knew you. Your memory is everlasting in our hearts. And his father is right here beside him, Jeffrey Lynn Markowitz, who died in 2018. Husband, father, papa, son, brother, and friend, inventor, explorer, captain, artist, storyteller, magic maker, lover of life. And that's the story of Nicholas Markowitz. Not the story of Jesse James Hollywood. Not the story of anyone else. The story of Nicholas. And wow, after 15, 16 years that I've wanted to come out here, it's pretty heavy being here, I can tell you that. Rest in peace, Nicholas. Rest in peace to your father. The movie Alpha Dog, I highly suggest it. It's gripping, it's entertaining for such a subject that's true, and ultimately sad. But this is the real story, and that is where Nicholas lies, properly buried. Wow. The story stuck with me for a long time, and right underneath this big tree, you'll find Nicholas and his father. Okay, thank you for watching. Rest in peace, Nicholas. All right, peace out. So this is actually a couple days later. I'm actually back here at the same cemetery doing a video with somebody else, and I stopped by Nicholas's grave there, and I started because I was reading more about the case, even though I've finished. It still sticks with me. I still want to read stuff, still want to learn stuff. I realized I forgot to mention that Jesse James Hollywood has appealed from different reasons, always denied. He's staying in prison, rightfully so. Now he's done a couple of interviews where he claims to be a born-again Christian. I do believe murderers, people who commit atrocious, horrific crimes, can be remorseful. I believe they can be, some can even be rehabilitated. However, I don't believe they should be let out if you're remorseful. Or if you have, because you never know if somebody's really rehabilitated or if they're just saying that. So yeah, I believe in those things. I believe that people can change. But it doesn't erase what you did, and you still have to pay for that. And when it comes to somebody claiming to be a born-again Christian, when it comes to religion, whatever somebody wants to practice is fine with me, as long as it stays with with the person. Your faith is your faith, and I love that for people. My grandmother was deeply religious, and I liked the fact that she thought about the afterlife and where she was going and things like that. It comforted me. So, very, very, very religious, and I love my grandmother very, very, very much. So, like I said, just because you claim to be a born-again Christian doesn't mean that it doesn't erase what you did. We cannot forgive. Maybe some people can. You cannot forget. Maybe some people can forgive. I don't know about the Markowitz family. I doubt it. And last time I checked, you can only be born once. So I don't know if I believe in that whole notion, the born again. But if somebody wants to believe that, and like I said, I'm never gonna dispute someone's own beliefs and religion. Let people have it. When it comes to interfering on other people's beliefs, then I have a problem. But that's beside the point. I just wanted to say that Jesse James Hollywood says he's remorseful, says he's changed, says he's born again. A guy like that, I don't believe it. And I'm glad he's staying in prison for the rest of his life. So just to let you know that he is not getting out. And once again, rest in peace, Nicholas.